Spinning up Kubernetes cluster on AWS used to require hundred lines of complex CloudFormation templates and manual stitching together VPCs and IAM roles. It was painful, but not anymore. Today, I'm showing you the absolute easiest way to deploy Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service EKS. By the end of this video, you'll have a live EKS cluster running in the cloud, and you will deploy a raw web application accessible from the internet to prove it's working. Let's jump in. Before we fire off the commands, make sure your local machine is ready. You need three things to install: the AWS CLI, configured with credentials that have admin permissions. And the second one is kubectl, the standard Kubernetes tool. And the last and final is the star of the show, the eksctl. If you have those ready, open your terminal. But if you don't, I'll put a link of all of these below this video so you can follow through the steps to get these set up. So to check that these tools are installed, make sure you bring up your terminal, and then let's first of all check the AWS CLI. To check that, I can simply type in AWS and then -- version, and that will give you the version that is installed on your computer. Next, let's check the kubectl. So you can simply type kubectl and then version, and that should also give you the version installed on your computer at the moment. And last of all, let's check the installation to make sure that the eksctl is also installed. So once you deployed, if you then type in eksctl version, and then you should be able to see the current version that is installed on your computer. With this out of the way, once you make sure that all of these are installed, then you can proceed with the installation. So let's begin. We're going to create a simple cluster named lab cluster in a US East 1 region. We will ask for 2 worker nodes using T3 medium instances. And here is the beauty of eksctl. It's just one single command. Watch this. So I'm just going to copy this command. I'm just going to grab the command right here. And there you go. So just a simple command will create our cluster. So as you can see from this command, it will create a cluster named lab cluster. A region will be US East 1, and a version of this Kubernetes will be 1.29. And the node name will be the standard worker node, and the type of node we'll be deploying will be T3 medium, and the number of nodes we'll be deploying will be 2. So once I run this command, this will kick off the installation. So just going to press enter, and voila, as you can see, the installation have started. And what this is going to do is that it's going to really start to create CloudFormation, utilizing CloudFormation to create these cluster. So for us to see that, we can simply move to our AWS console, and if you go into CloudFormation, there you go. We can see that the EKS cluster is currently in progress and getting deployed. If you click on it and we go into event, we should now see the event of this deployment going on. So once the events, everything is successful, then we should see complete. But at the moment, it's still in the creating process. All right, so just going to bring up the terminal again, and as you can see, the deployment is going on, and this will take approximately about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. And we are back. So now the whole setup has been done correctly and all completed. So as you can see, the last information that we can see here is the cluster. Lab cluster in US East 1 region is ready. You can also check whether it's ready by going to the console, and you can also see the CloudFormation is showing us created successfully. When you click on it, you also be able to verify directly via the overview area where the status is also showing created complete. We can also go directly to the cloud, the EKS service or resources. So when you click on this, that should take us to the EKS service area, and you can see the cluster is active. The version of the Kubernetes that we run is there, and we can click on the cluster to inspect the cluster. So as you can see, this is the cluster information. If I click on compute, this is where we should be able to see the node that we created. So that's the standard worker node, and we got 2 of them. So everything is set up correctly. All right, so here we can see in terms of the scalability, there are 2 desirable set of nodes. Minimum is 2 and maximum is 2. That's fine. So now let's go back to the command line. So once we set this up, we want to check to make sure the nodes are running on the command line area as well. So what we can do is we can type in kubectl get node, and it should list out the nodes that we've deployed. So as you can see, 2 of the nodes are showing up here. Now, once you're done with the deployment, we want to also install an application on this. So we want to install a container application. So to do that, we're going to install an nginx application. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to type in kubectl create, and then I'll type in deployment, and I'll give it a name, which is be nginx-demo, and the image I'm going to use is nginx. So this is a web application. So that's about it. So that should start the creation, and the creation of the container has been done successfully. So what we can do is to inspect this. So to inspect these ports, we can just simply type in kubectl get ports, and this should check the default namespace. And as you can see in the default namespace, the port we just created is there, and you can see it's ready and it's running, and this was done in just the last 17 minutes. So perfect. We've managed to deploy an application. So right now the nginx server is running, but it's actually locked inside the cluster's private network. We can't access it from the web browser yet. To fix that, we need to create a Kubernetes service of type load balancer. This triggers AWS to provision a real elastic load balancer outside the cluster to route traffic in. So we're just going to use a simple command to do this. So the command I'm going to use is this here. So I'm just going to grab the command and paste it in here. So this command, as you can see here, will ensure that we create a service type of load balancer, and the service name will be nginx-service, and the target port to be 80, and a port for that will be set on the container will be also port 80. So you simply click on enter to create this. So now this has been created successfully. To look at this to make sure that it's all set up, you can just type in kubectl get service, and then we can type in the service name that we just created, which is nginx-service. And there you go. There you have it. The service up there. So now that we have the external IP address of the service, we can essentially access this service. So to do that, we simply have to grab this external URL. So once I grab it, I can then go into a browser and paste it. It takes a bit of time for this to set up, so it might not work for you the first time, but just give it a minute or two, it should come up. All right, so I simply refresh this a few times, and now you can see welcome to nginx is showing up on the screen. So this shows that our web app is working correctly, and our container is also working fine. So this is how you can deploy an EKS cluster and then deploy a web application, and that you can have access to it externally. So that's about it. So we have successfully deployed our container and we're running a web app. Right. Now that you've finished with the creation of these containers and also these services, you have to make sure that you clear your your deployment, because this is just a test environment. If you do not clear all these deployment, it's just going to give you more like a surprise AWS bill at the end of the month. So you don't want that. So we need to tear this lab down, and the order matters. If you just delete the cluster now, the AWS Load Balancer, we just created, might get left behind, costing you money. So to do this, we first of all have to delete the Kubernetes service first. This ensures the load balancer is cleaned up. So let's do that. So just type in kubectl delete nginx-service. Okay, so I made a mistake with the command that I type in. It should be, let me just clear the screen first. So the command should be kubectl, and then we have to type in delete, and we specify service, and now we specify that specific service name we created, which is nginx-service. So this should do the trick. So as you can see, deleted, and it's still in the process of deleting. All right, so now the service has been deleted. Now that the service has been deleted, we can now safely delete the cluster using the command of eksctl delete cluster, and then the cluster name. So the name of our cluster is lab cluster, and the region is US East 1. Okay, then we can start the deletion. So this will take a bit of time to complete, probably about 10 minutes to complete. But we can observe the deletion also directly from the console if you go into the CloudFormation. So if I go back to the CloudFormation, you can see that it's now deleting progress. So we can click on it and then monitor the progress of the deletion as well directly from here. But you can simply watch it from here. So this will take approximately about 10 minutes to delete. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This is the fastest path to working to a working EKS cluster on AWS using eksctl. It's quite incredible and quite powerful to this eksctl, and we are only scratching the surface of what this can actually do. If you found this tutorial helpful for getting started with Kubernetes on AWS, please smash the like button below so YouTube share this video to others. And also you can subscribe for more practical DevOps tutorials. Thank you for watching, and happy developing.